In Cincinnati, Ohio, there's a fascinating piece of history on display every holiday season. These folks are enjoying the sights and sounds of a model railroad that was built way back in the 1930s. In what has become a Cincinnati holiday tradition, the good people of Cinergy put this layout on display in the lobby of their building at 139 East 4th Street in downtown Cincinnati. It's open from the day after Thanksgiving through New Year's Eve every year. The railroad is O-scale and uses an outside third rail design for power, which was a popular way of building a model railroad in the 1930s. And it has a fascinating history.
The Baltimore and Ohio Railroad originally started the layout in 1936. They had a model building contest. They had a new train that was running between Washington, D.C. and New York City called the Royal Blue, and they offered a $1,000 prize to the best model. The promotion department went through and built this thing, a lot smaller than it is today. It's about 16 feet long and about 16 feet wide originally. And they tested the models and they showed it one time and found out, gee, it's a pretty good tool.
Realizing that their new model railroad represented a wonderful public relations tool, the B&O decided to place the layout on public display in various spots around their territory.
It appeared the first time in Hutzler's department store in Baltimore, and it started traveling around ever since. And luckily for us, one of the people that worked here at the company, by the name of Ed Hodgetts, was with his son and saw it at Hutzler's and said, hey, you know, it'd be nice if we could get that train in Cincinnati. And so they made contact with B&O, and it started coming here every year for Christmas. And then it would be packed up and moved somewhere else. In 1969, when the Baltimore and Ohio Museum was starting to have some financial problems, they asked if we could store it for them, and it never left. And here it is today.
The B&O traveling layout had found a home at what was then called the Cincinnati Gas and Electric Company. CG&E reached an agreement with the B&O to store and display the layout each holiday season, and that agreement with the railroad still lives on today with CSX Transportation. Over the years, the layout has grown as the Cinergy crew expanded it. Comparing the track plan from 1945 to the track plan of the current layout, it's easy to see that this railroad has grown into a much larger display than it was originally.
Prior to 1984, it was really a very fine miniature railroad, but there wasn't much else with it. There were about 6 buildings. There were very few people around, a couple of them on the station. And it was a good way of looking at a railroad if you want to see one. Since that time, we just keep adding detail, more track as much as we can in our space, but we've turned it into a miniature world. We've added many buildings to it. We've added more to the yard. We've added more stations. Originally there was 1 small station. Now there's 3 of them on the layout. We've added trains to it. Originally the Cincinnatian was one of the trains that was on the layout, and when it came here to stay, unfortunately that was one of them. They went to the museum. 3 years ago we bought a new locomotive, had custom made cars made for it, so now we have a Cincinnatian on a Cincinnati layout again.
The original layout was wired with a very primitive control system, using many of the same components that the B&O used out on the real railroad.
There were 2 transformers in the box. They had top changers on them. They were the ones that came from the signal system from the B&O. One was set to 3.2 volts for the signals. The other one was 16 volts for the running of the train. In that box on the one end was a full-size flasher, two big double coils on that flasher, and it sit there and go clunk, 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 and flash those little grade signals at the end. But everything was that way. The B&O made everything on this layout out of things that they had in service somewhere.
Even though this is an old historic layout, the Cinergy crew has used modern technology wherever it would help to improve the display.
The original signal lights were miniature brass screw-based bulbs. There were some of them they used in the diesel. When they originally started putting them in there, they were cheap. Well, by the time we got done, they were $16 a piece. So we've changed from this miniature bulbs to LEDs, and that's what's in the signals today.
The nuts and bolts of the layout may have changed over the years, but the end result is still the same. It brings out the kid in you, no matter what your age.
I've decided that the kids are age 1 to 93. It's hard to tell. The older people like it for different reasons. Brings back memories of riding the trains, brings back memories of bringing their kids down here, now their grandchildren, some of their great-grandchildren, and the kids are just, like everything. Trains are amazing to people.
And these trains are especially amazing when you realize that this is not a permanent display. Each October, the Cinergy crew begins the massive job of unpacking the huge crates that contain all the parts of the layout. Completely crated, the layout weighs in at over 14,000 pounds and would fill a boxcar. In fact, when the B&O transported this layout around their rail system, it was shipped in its own special boxcar. Setting up each year includes making sure that the electrical and block control systems are working properly. All those relays are part of the block control system that handles train operation. As many as 9 trains can be run at one time, all automatically controlled by the block system. There may be as many as 3 trains on a single loop, and they'll stay properly spaced as they run around the railroad because the block system handles the dispatching of the trains and the display of authentic B&O color position light signals, all automatically. With the long hours of operation and the weight of O-scale equipment, running on this layout is a tough test of motive power and rolling stock.
We run them a lot harder than most people do at home. And so we'll modify those, take out some of the different universal joints and things and replace them with a flexible shaft coupling to get rid of some of the moving parts that don't have to wear out then.
The Cinergy crew has also added new structures taken from the real world. For example, Mike Crone built this model of the B&O's famous station at Point of Rocks, Maryland. This is the point on the B&O where the old main line from Baltimore and the Metropolitan Subdivision from Washington come together on their route to Ohio and points west. Since the layout is always displayed during the winter holiday season, some sections of the railroad are set in the snowy look of winter. Really looks cold, doesn't it? Kids of all ages love to see a circus train. Modeled after the John Robinson Circus, which used to winter in Terrace Park, Ohio, there are actually two circus trains on this railroad, this red one and a yellow one. This beautiful passenger station is one of the structures that the Cinergy crew has added to this layout. It provides a wonderful big city setting for the passenger trains to arrive and depart. People from all over the world come to see this display during the holidays. The guest book is filled with entries from all over the United States and even includes visitors from as far away as France and Argentina. And judging from the comments in the book, people really enjoy seeing this railroad. Visiting this layout has become a holiday tradition in Cincinnati because they've been doing this for a long time.
This is our 55th year, and we've enjoyed every minute of it. Some of us have been working on this for quite a while. A fellow named Jack Thompson has been doing it for 51 years, still comes back, been retired. This is my 33rd year. It's about 30 volunteers who maintain, operate, and set up the train, take it down. And we plan on doing that every October. We operate the train from the day after Thanksgiving all the way through to the end of December, closed on Christmas Day. And last year, when we counted how many people came through our lobby, we had 394,000 people came through here. And they all got a cookie. Since we've been doing this over the last 55 years, we've given away just about 90,000 pounds of cookies. So it's a good time.
This railroad still exists today because of a small group of dedicated people within Cinergy and the support of the company itself. Finding the time to do this is a major commitment in time and energy for every person on the crew. It's a tremendous amount of work all year long. Why do they do it?
It's kind of like their Christmas present to people in this area. It's selfish on their part. Where else can you get 394,000 people to come into your lobby and have them smile and go away and say thanks? And I haven't found any that said, gee, you shouldn't do this yet. And so it's the best public relations tool. The B&O was right when they built it. People love trains, and it's continued here. And if we can do that, it's well worth it. This thing's a joy to run. It was very well thought out. It's excellent equipment, and you get to meet an awful lot of nice people. I've done this for 33 years and enjoyed every minute of it.
The Christmas season in Cincinnati just wouldn't be the same without seeing the Cinergy layout. And just down the road a short ways, you'll find Cincinnati Union Terminal, which also has a huge holiday display of trains. Christmas and electric trains, even in the 21st century, they still make a winning combination that adds up to a lot of just plain fun.